Hi, this is Chris from Build 5.9. So the Windows Package Manager is the new command line tool from Microsoft for being able to install and manage app packages in Windows 10 right from the command line. It's done through the Winget utility. I wrote an article about this introducing it over on build59s.com the other day. If I scroll down here in the steps, we can see some things that I posted in here. The application packages that you can install through this new Windows Package Manager are a number of various utilities that developers or other users and other IT pros and things might want to use. So you can use it to actually install the full desktop version of Windows Visual Studio, as well as Visual Studio Code, or other command line tools like the Azure CLI, Cosmos Emulator, Storage Explorer, things like that for Azure, as well as Power BI, Microsoft Teams, 7-Zip, Windows Terminal even. A little meta there with installing Windows Terminal from command line. But a lot of different things here. You can see the list. If you look at the open source repo, we'll take a look at that in a second. There's a larger list. So installing the Windows Package Manager, the preferred method is through the Windows Store, but you can also manually install it yourself as well. Basically, you go to the open source project over on GitHub, the Microsoft/Winget-CLI project, and you go into the releases and you can download a .appx bundle. This is a Windows Store app bundle. You will double click that on your machine and install it to be able to install that manually. Otherwise, installing through the Windows Store, you will need your machine to be updated with the latest Insider build, I believe it is at this time. Hopefully, soon we'll see not needing to use an Insider build. But this is also a kind of beta release of the Winget utility, so that it'll kind of expand and grow from there as it is today. So if we look over at the GitHub project, so that Microsoft/Winget-CLI project for the Winget utility, it's fully open source. You have the full source code available here for this utility. Microsoft is releasing this as open source, so it's a community tool. It should be interesting to see what types of things maybe the community contributes into this project, or also just being able to see the transparency that Microsoft has with building and developing this package manager. And we'll really see if this catches on. I'm sure it will, but it does compete with existing package managers like Chocolatey that are used in the server world and desktop world and things by IT pros already. It'll be neat to see how that kind of compares to this utility in the long run as things start getting developed and they compete with each other essentially. So if we scroll down on the home page here in the main README of the repo, it's going to give some instructions on installing, like I mentioned, through the Windows Store manually, or you can even build it your own. There's some instructions down here to be able to build the source code. So if you want to build the source code yourself, it tells you what you need to have installed. So like Visual Studio 2019, you need developer mode enabled in Windows 10, and some other things. And you can actually build from source and run it that way as well. But instead, let's see, looking at the releases tab here in the project, we can go down and download this AppX bundle. If we download that, we'll be able to run the bundle package and open it up and install that on our machine. I believe you do need the developer mode turned on in order to do the manual install, just like you would with building the source yourself. So that's something you'll have to look into on Windows 10. Now, I already have it installed on my machine. It takes a minute to do, so I just wanted to do that ahead of time. So here I have the Windows terminal open. Right now I'm in the PowerShell prompt, but you could do this in the command line as well. So I'll type the winget command, and it's just going to give me some information about this utility. So we can see there's some commands here for installing, showing package applications, the sources of applications, searching for what apps are available, different things like that. If I say winget, if I can type here, misspelling as I'm trying to talk, we can say search, run the search command, and then let's say we want to search for Visual Studio. Now we can see, since I had a space in it, it's like, wait a minute, I don't know what that is. We'll go back here and put quotes around my search for Visual Studio and run that. See, now it's actually going and checking against the Winget repository, and it came back before I could even say that. And we have 4 different application packages we could install for Visual Studio. We can see there's Visual Studio Code at the top, And then there's also Visual Studio Professional, Enterprise, and Community editions. These are Visual Studio 2019, I believe it is, with version 16 that are in here. So we can say Winget and show, and then we could type in the name of our package that we want to see the information of. So we'll do Winget show, Microsoft Visual Studio Code in this case. Let's take a look at the code package. So now we can see it found Visual Studio Code. The app version is 1.45.1. The publisher is Microsoft. App moniker is VS Code, so we could actually reference it as VS Code in order to install and update it. So let's take a look at some other packages in here. So if I say Winget show and say Azure CLI, so we can install the Azure CLI here, the cross-platform command line tooling for Azure. We can see version 2.6 is the version available in the app package right now. It's published by Microsoft. We have a description here telling us what is this package. Like I mentioned, it's the Azure command line interface, and it gives us a description there. That description is useful for any of the other packages you might look up here in the repos. It also shows a GitHub URL, license, things like that. And then if we want to install that, we can type winget install, and then the shorthand for it, I think, is Azure CLI. I could be wrong. Yep, it found it. There we go. Didn't have to type in the full Microsoft.Azure CLI. Now it's actually going and downloading the installer, that MSI that was listed for the installation. All right, so installation has successfully completed. We can see it did install it from the MSI, so it did show us some UI for installation. It's not purely a command line install. I'm not really sure what they're planning with that in the future. It kind of seems like the Winget utility is really meant for the Windows 10 client OS and not really for the server world. So Chocolatey may still have a space in the future going on with the server side headless installation type experience. Okay, now if we go back over to GitHub, there's another project for Winget, the Winget-PKGS or packages. This is actually the package manifest repository for Winget. So in this project, we can go down here and we can see there's a manifest folder. This is where it's going to contain the manifest for all of the app packages. We'll go ahead and open that. And inside this packages manifest folder, we can see all of the different subfolders here for different app packages that can be installed. So there's different tools like 7-zip, we can see there. Some other things like 1Password. Keep scrolling down. Git, Kraken, source tree, there's CPU-Z, Git, Etcher, a bunch of other utilities. If we keep scrolling here, we can see there's a whole ton of applications and packages in here that you can install using Winget. And I'm sure many of these are getting updated and added on a daily basis now. I'm sure this project is really taking off to become pretty popular. It'll be pretty cool to be able to use this to more easily install different packages or different applications when you're setting up your machines. And if you want to create your own manifest, to create your own app package to make it available to Winget, you can simply create that manifest and then submit a PR or pull request to this Winget packages repository. So that's pretty cool, as it's open to community input contributions as well. So there we have an overview of looking at the Windows Package Manager or Winget CLI Utility. So we looked at installing the Azure CLI, but you could also install VS Code or many of those other packages that are available. I hope this is useful to you, and I will see you in the next video.